turning.
Oh, wow. Okay. My reaction to him coming back was, this suit's so damn tight, but how do you pat yourself on the back again? Once again, it's
Called that one.
I called that one. Look, I knew Tom Brady was going to go on the emotional roller coaster in terms of retirement. Every player does it. And typically it happens while you're playing. As I always tell you, in any relationship that ends, you spend half the time breaking up. But in football, it's not half the time. It's probably half the season. So the latter part of the season, when you start to look up, you're like, this team, we actually look better than we did when we won the Super Bowl. But then the injuries occur. And then also, AB takes his shirt off and everything changed. You get into the playoffs, it's a dog fight. You guys are getting spanked. All of a sudden, you find yourself in a match. It goes down to the wire. You barely lose that game. And Tom Brady on that emotional roller coaster decided to do what a lot of people have done. You ever been to Six Flags? I know y'all got one out there. Of course. Okay. When you get on that roller coaster that you like, it's going to take a little bit out of me, but I'm going to go on there. You stand in line. If you ain't got a fast pass, give them your 2 hours. I hate fast passes, even though I love them. I like waiting, the anticipation, 2 hours, seeing everybody get off. Oh, I like that for 2 hours. I admit it's a little long, but I'm in there. Hey, Wiley, can you? All right, let's do it. 2 hours. We get there. And you're on the track. First of all, I barely fit like this suit. I'm in there, though. And you can see right there are steps if you always look to the inside rail. And you know why those steps are there? Because if you raise your hand at that moment, an attendant will come and get you off that roller coaster. She'll come. He'll come. But who raises their hand? Who wants to do that? But Tom Brady was like, hey, it's time for me to get off. It's been 22 of these bad boys. And I respect Tom Brady for going through a real human experience, especially when you've given so much to the game. But I knew he wasn't going to tap out. I just felt that Tom Brady was in a place where he was like, I'm reflecting on everything. The best football for me personally may still be in front of me, but it looks like for this team may be behind us. That was the decision he made then, and I knew he would reverse that same decision. Oh, I liked it. I'm going to get to that, too. I'm going to get to that. I can see why you're baffled, as you said. That was one of your choice words. Well, it's not baffling to me what Tom Brady went through. I remember going to Darren Woodson's house when I was in Dallas, and I guess I went to him too late because I should have went to him before I played in Dallas, but I was an active player on the Dallas Cowboys, being serious. My mother just got diagnosed with breast cancer. Can't lie to y'all. My mind wasn't on the game. I was out there playing a shell of myself physically and mentally. Darren Woodson told me, man, look, if you over here talking about retiring, you already retired, bro. Now, I don't fully believe that because Tom Brady didn't come to this decision just wake up after a Rams loss in the playoffs and the one and done. You know what? It's time.
Correct.
He's been talking about this. Aaron Rodgers talked about it and went out there and won back-to-back MVPs. You can still ball out once you make that commitment. But you said, I don't know why you did it now. I could tell you why he did it now. And I don't know why you did it here in terms of Tampa Bay. Well, one, Bruce Arians made sure that Tom Brady and the world knew.
You ain't going nowhere.
You ain't going nowhere.
Yes, sir.
You stuck. He went to the combine and said 5 first-rounders. He went to the combine. He said, this is bad business, helping Tom Brady out, and then that's going to make us do worse business. So you ain't going nowhere if you want to come back to the game unless you want to come back to Tampa. Why do it now? NFL fiscal calendar year starts March 16th. Check my phone. You know, nobody knows the date anymore. The 14th. Free agents, the ripple effect. Oh, Tom Brady effect. I'm going to play with Tom Brady. We already saw it. Ryan Jansen, he was gone. Ryan Jansen already said, I'm back because Brady's back. That's why he did it right now. I love your example about the relationship. 22 years invested intimately. Why now? Football's different than marriage. Now, you got to be married and played football to know that. Acho, you ain't got half of that equation, right? All right. In football, it responds to what you give it. That's it. Football's like, I'm going to respond to what you give me. Now, there's another factor that injuries can come and undermine your contributions, et cetera. But the game of football, whatever you putting into me, I'm going to give it back to you. Now, that's also related to other players. If I'm better than you, Acho, and I give the same amount, I'm going to get more out of the game, right? That ain't a relationship, bro. Let me tell you about marriage. She ain't reacted to what you give her necessarily. She's reacted to who she is based on what you are trying to give her. So whatever you're up to, it has to match what she actually desires. Football only desires a few things it knows. Don't be scared. Don't make excuses. Go out there and run through every wall. You know the game. You know the buy-in. A little bit different. Once you get married, we'll have a greater conversation about that. What does Tom Brady have left to accomplish? God, Acho, you got all those notes over there and don't have this part. This is easy. Who has the most championships in NFL history?
Tom Brady.
And, I know this trivia. No.
DC?
Belichick got more. He's tied right now. Thank you. This is my point. He's tied with Paul Brown with 7. Now, that's a coach. But here's the thing. When you Tom Brady insane, crazy in terms of talent, accomplishment, accolades, y'all start to look for stuff, anything to get motivated, anything to say I'm number one, because we can list all the things that he's accomplished and records broken. Games started, wins, career completion percentage, wins, except where you go there. Forget that. What haven't you done? You ain't passed Paul Brown yet, and you haven't passed Belichick if you consider the 2 championships as a D coordinator, really the architect, as the Giants defensive coordinator. Someone mentioned this one to me, and it was interesting. I didn't think about this. But if you're Tom Brady, you see the new crop coming. Justin Herbert already has set an NFL record for his first 2 years in terms of records, right? Patrick Mahomes is a greater quarterback than Justin Herbert. Do you want to make every record unreachable by this new crop? Josh Allen, et cetera. I don't know. We starting to fall down the ladder a little bit, but it still may be in the mind of an all-time great. How about this? Make the all-decade team for 3 different decades. The dude said he wanted to play to 45 and he retired before he was 45. I don't know why y'all made this a news story. But beyond that, making an all-decade team for 3 decades.
I don't know, Sal.
Okay, you don't have to know. But do you know that he wants to have the most rings of all that ever played the game?
Here's why. Marcellus, he didn't win in even years. He only ever won Super Bowls. And I don't think that matters.
Because you don't have that type of ego. And I think your ego is greater than my ego. In part, why you accomplish a lot in our industry more so than I am. Because I don't have that type of ego. And I've known that since hello. And I am comfortable with that. But I witnessed those with greater egos. Therefore, when I see Phil Jackson roll out all his rings and take pictures with them on pinkies and toes and throw them all on the table and say, look at this, that's an ego. That Michael Jordan is like, oh, I can only do that to players, but I can't do that to Phil. And then it goes down like this. You just gave me the perfect example. You just said everything Brady has, it's like winning an Oscar. I hate when somebody comes up to me with one of them flip Androids, whatever. Oh, no, it's like an iPhone. No, it's not like an iPhone. Because it's not an iPhone. Nothing is exactly alike. Identical twins are not exactly alike. You're going to give me something that I got to sit there at the barbershop for 50 minutes to hear, no, he has the most playoff games won. Hey, bruh, I know someone who was in the game, Belichick, Paul Brown, whoever, is in the game and they can son Tom Brady when he's that close to sonning everyone who's ever contributed.
What you just said, 2 things. But you can compare apple to orange. You can compare a coach to a player. That just isn't even something that should be common.
Why do we always have Belichick, Brady, who gets more credit? We do that all the time.
We're not comparing them. We're saying who is of greater value, but we're not saying who had a better career. I don't think we've ever said who had a better career, Belichick or Brady. We've said who's more important.
Acho, let's not do this. Let's not get into that weird space. When to win an argument, we're going to say some crazy stuff. Like, we don't compare Belichick and Brady. Who had more value, who contributed greater to their dynasty. That's all comparison. Now, beyond that, players do get compared to coaches. Yes, they do, because we hear this conversation. Well, what did they do without him? It was what Kawhi. Kawhi went through this. What is Kawhi going to do without Popovich? Well, Kawhi went out there and proved it. So we do compare, and it's okay. We compare players. Who just said this? KD. We compare players who would never, ever face each other. We compare Michael Jordan to LeBron James, and they never played with each other. That's the point.
At least there's a baseline of comparison.
You're being too logical right now, and it's okay. But when you're talking about this level of greatness, it's like some people will say, if you got $1 billion, why are you still working? What are you trying to accomplish? Why do you wake up before everyone and go to bed after everyone? And they're going to say, you don't understand me. You don't understand this level. So it's okay. I don't even have to explain it to you. But those people are irrational.
Fair.
To be genius like Tom Brady in football, he ain't doing it logically. He's going to do it with his own calculation, like this calculation. You want to see Tom Brady's last 9 seasons? 2013, lose playoff game. Next year, win Super Bowl. Next year, lose playoff game. Next year, win Super Bowl. Next year, lose playoff game. Next year, win Super Bowl. Goodness. Lose playoff game, win Super Bowl. Last year, he lost the playoff game. This year,
he better. He better win.
Oh, here you go. How about this? You gave me a list of all-time greats in many sports.
Yes, sir.
How about I become the all-time greatest of the all-time greats? Because not only do I go out on top, I go out on my terms and still balling out of control. And none of those guys did the TB12 method. And last time I checked, Acho, when you had Six Flags and you on that ride and you didn't raise your hand to get off, you're never thinking, when is this going to end? Because you never wanted to. Coming up, will we see Davante Adams with Aaron Rodgers next? We'll tell you whose side we're on in the Packers franchise tag situation. But first, Deshaun Watson.